Hello students, welcome to EPG Pathshala. I am Dr. Mandeep from GNDU Amritsar. Today we are going to talk on the module Monetary Policy of India from the paper Business Environment. I'm sure that after the completion of this module, you will be able to understand what's the concept of monetary policy, what are the objectives, what are the instruments which are used for adopting this monetary policy, and what are the terminologies which are related to the monetary policy. The macroeconomic policy determined by the central bank, that is any central bank in India, it is RBI, that is Reserve Bank of India, to accomplish the macroeconomic objectives of the government of the country like growth, liquidity, inflation and consumption is known as the monetary policy. It basically involves the money supply and interest rate management. In India, monetary policy is decided by Reserve Bank of India. Many instruments are used to execute the monetary policy like bank rate, credit control, moral influence and many other mechanisms which are used for this purpose. What's the purpose of this basically? The purpose of monetary policy in India is to achieve certain macroeconomic objectives. It may be liquidity, it may be economic growth, to establish the stability in the prices, to control the inflation or to control the interest rate and build a general interest in the economy. In India, in order to speed up the pace of economic expansion and to accomplish the requirements of diverse sectors of the economy, Reserve Bank of India manages the money supply. Through monetary policy, there can be contraction or expansion of money supply in the economy as per the requirement of the country. During the days of recession, interest rates can be lowered and money supply can be expanded. The belief is that the trouble-free credit will be accessible to the people and it will be helpful for the expansion of the business and work as a means to combat unemployment. Whereas, in order to shrink the money supply in the economy and to conquer the motive to slow down the impact of inflation, the interest rates are increased. Monetary policy during pre-reform period and post-reform period. First of all, pre-reform period monetary policy. The time period was 1972 to 1991. A good coordination is required between monetary and fiscal policy. Basically, monetary policy is a reaction of fiscal policy in India. Fiscal deficit was created during 70s and 80s by the fiscal policy, and the money was created at that time by borrowing from Reserve Bank of India against the issue of treasury bills by the government. Money supply was increased due to credit by Reserve Bank of India to the government. Due to growing budget deficit, the objective of monetary policy during 70s and 80s was to neutralize the impact of inflation. Then comes post-reform period monetary policy, the time period 1991 to 1996. In the post-reform period, the objectives of monetary policy were economic growth and price stability. To tackle the economic crisis, economic reforms were executed. To accelerate the economic growth and to encourage the competition, deregulation and industrialization policy was followed. The objective was to reduce the fiscal deficit and to attain price stability. Quantitative restrictions on imports reduced and Indian economy was opened and the trade was liberalized in the external sector. Now, what is this monetary policy? In the words of Johnson, monetary policy is a policy employing central bank's control of the supply of money as an instrument for achieving the objectives of general economic policy. As per G.K. Shaw, any conscious action undertaken by the monetary authorities to change the quantity, availability, or cost of money is monetary policy. R.P. Kent defines monetary policy as the management of the expansion and contraction of the volume of money in circulation for the explicit purpose of attaining a specific objective such as full employment. Shapiro defines monetary policy as the exercise of the central bank's control over the money supply as an instrument for achieving the objectives of economic policy. In the words of D.C. Rowan, the monetary policy is defined as discretionary action undertaken by the authorities designed to influence the supply of money, the cost of money or rate of interest, and the availability of monies. Objectives of monetary policy: economic growth, exchange rate stability, and price stability are the objectives of monetary policy. And in order to achieve these objectives, there are certain targets like interest rate, supply of money or bank credit, which are vital to be altered through instruments of monetary policy to realize these objectives. Reserve requirement variation, bank rates and interest rates changing, currency supply adjustment, selective credit control, and open market operation are certain instruments of monetary policy which are used to achieve these targets. The monetary policy must move in parity with economic policy because it is one instrument of overall economic policy. The objectives of monetary policy are maintenance economic growth, rupee exchange rate stability with foreign currencies, inflation control or stability in prices, full employment, and balance of growth. Economic growth. Monetary policy has another objective, that is economic growth. The economic growth can be achieved by making credit availability to be adequate and lowering the cost of credit. Economic growth quickens when credit is available at low interest rate, which ultimately stimulates the investment. Next is exchange rate stability. Fixed exchange rate system is followed by India till 1991, and with the permission of IMF, that is International Monetary Fund, India devalued the rupee rarely. Since 1991, there is a volatility in the exchange rate of rupee due to globalization and floating exchange rate. Fluctuations in rupee exchange rate are due to capital outflows and inflows and alternations in the foreign exchange demand and supply, which crop up due to imports and exports. So as to ensure stability in the foreign exchange rate, Reserve Bank have to take suitable monetary measures to prevent large appreciation and depreciation of foreign exchange rate. Next comes inflation control or stability of price. Monetary policy has a major objective to control the inflation or maintaining stability of prices. However, price stability does not mean totally no change in price. In the developing country like India, certain price level changes or inflation is quite expected, although there may be an adverse effect of the high degree of inflation on the economy. Firstly, the cost of living of people is raised by inflation. Secondly, exports are discouraged because inflation makes them costly and people are forced to import goods because of high prices in the domestic market. Hence, there is an adverse effect on balance of payment because of the inflation. Thirdly, due to high inflation, money's value quickly falls and people have less motivation to save. Ultimately, investments are reduced, which leads to lower economic growth. Moreover, people are encouraged to invest in other assets like real estate, jewelry, and gold, etc. Now, let's talk about the various instruments used in India for the monetary policy. Recent monetary policies have focused upon credit availability changes than the cost of credit, that is the rate of interest, which is a good instrument to regulate the aggregate demand. The credit availability is reduced by various methods. The availability of credit in the economy can be reduced by open market operations. Government securities are being sold by RBI through the open market operations, and payment of them, especially with the banks to buy the security, is in terms of cash reserves. Capacity to lend money will be reduced when the cash reserves are lesser with the banks. Hence, funds to provide the loan supply by the banks will be reduced, and hence it will lead to reduction in business firms' investment demand. Numerous instruments are used by RBI in order to put into practice the monetary policy which leads to makeover the money supply and interest rate. With the help of monetary policy, RBI maintains liquidity in the economy. Now let's talk about the instruments which can be quantitative, general or indirect, and can be qualitative or selective and direct. With the help of the availability of credit, cost of money and supply of money aggregate demand is affected. Alternation in reserve requirements, bank rate variations and open market operations are included in the quantitative instruments, and the commercial banks are one of the important media to regulate the overall level of credit in the economy. The control of specific type of credit is covered under the second type, that is qualitative or selective credit controls. The regulation of consumer credit and changing margin requirement are included in this portion. The first method in quantitative is bank rate policy or bank rate. Now what is this bank rate? Bank rate is a rate at which the central government, RBI in case of India, lends the money to the various commercial banks. It is also known as discount rate. The government securities and the first class bills of exchange held by the commercial banks are discounted at the minimum lending rate of central bank. This minimum lending rate is known as bank rate. During the periods of inflation, the bank rate is increased to increase the interest rate on borrowing, so that less money is in the hands of the banks and less money will be in the hand of the public. So the commercial banks will borrow less from central bank, and because of the cost of borrowing from the central bank is increased due to the rise in bank rate, even the customers will have less loans. So as a result of lending rates by the commercial banks, they have increased, due to which the borrowers and the business community etc., they can borrow from commercial banks at high cost. This leads to credit contraction and price rise is automatically checked. It will have an undesirable impact on the borrowers, of course. When the prices start declining, bank rate is reduced and the borrowers can avail funds at the low interest rate. When the bank rate is reduced, the central bank will give loans to the commercial banks at the lowest rate. So obviously the rates, because the rates are lower, so banks can have more and more loan, and even the borrowers can have more and more loans at the lesser price. And this basically technique is used when there is depression in the prices. So central bank does this job in order to increase or expand the money supply. So ultimately borrowers and businessmen are motivated and they invest more and more. As a result, output increases, income increases, demand increases, and employment also generated. So the price movement in downside is automatically checked. Open market operation is another technique of monetary policy. The purchase and sale of securities by the central government in the money market is known as open market operations. The securities are sold by the central bank where there is an increase in the prices and the control is required. The commercial banks are not in a position to lend more to borrowers and the business community because their reserves are reduced. As a result, price rise is checked due to discouraged investment. In the same way, when recession starts in the economy, the securities are purchased by the central government and there is a rise in the reserves of the commercial banks. Price fall is checked because commercial banks lend more, which leads to increase in investment, output, employment, income, and demand rise. Reserve ratio changes. As per law of the government or RBI policy, banks are required to keep in the form of reserve a certain percentage of total deposits in its stock and a certain percentage with the central bank. This is basically known as reserve ratio. The reserve ratio is increased by the central bank when the prices are rising. It means banks are required to have more funds with the central bank and they lend less funds. As a result, investments are reduced and it adversely affects the employment as well as output. In the same way, when the reserve ratio is lowered by RBI and the commercial banks can have more reserves, they are in a position to lend more, which leads to more positive economic activity since more employment and more output. Selective credit controls. In order to influence a specific type of credit for particular purpose, selective control method is used. Within the economy, to control speculative activities, they may take place in the form of changing margin requirements. The central bank increases the margin requirements on them when there is rapid speculative activity in the economy or in particular sectors or commodities and prices are rising. As a result, against specified securities, the borrowers are given less money in the form of loans. For example, when the margin requirement is increased to 55%, it means the value of rupees 10,000, the pledger of the securities will be given 45% of their value, that is rupees 4,500 as loan. In the time of recession, the margin requirements are lowered when the borrowings are encouraged by the central bank. Credit tightening through monetary policy. A suitable policy framed for availability of credit and interest rate is monetary policy. Monetary policy is an important tool to control inflation, which reduces aggregate demand. It can affect the cost of credit and availability of credit for the business firms. When there is high rate of interest, then the borrowing of business firms will be costly. To encourage the savings and discourage borrowings, the rate of interest is kept very high and it is very effective anti-inflation measure. There are arguments that private investment is discouraged and economic growth is less when there are high interest rates. Hence, it is said that there may be sacrifice of certain growth when interest rates are raised, although it will reduce inflation, which means there exists a trade-off between the growth and inflation. Now students, let's talk about certain very important terms which are used in monetary policy. The very important one is CRR, that is cash reserve ratio. It is a minimum cash reserve amount which the commercial banks have to put with RBI. It is basically a certain minimum amount of the total deposits of the customers. There will be lesser availability of funds for the bank credit if the CRR is increased, and on the other hand, when the CRR is reduced, then more funds will be available for to the bank for the credit purposes. So the CRR basically controls the money supply in the economy. So that is why it is also known as liquidity ratio. The purpose of the CRR is that depositors can get the payments on demand and banks are not put out of the cash to meet their demands, because they have already maintained cash equivalent to the certain ratio. For the money supply in the economy, CRR basically work as a braking system. Hence, when the cash reserve ratio is 7%, let's say, and the deposit of the bank is increased by rupees 1,000, then the bank will be able to use only rupees 930 for credit as for the investment purpose, etc., as they have to put rupees 70 with the RBI as CRR. The bank will be able to use a lower amount for lending and investment when the CRR is higher. So this cash reserve ratio is an effective tool in the hands of our apex bank, that is Reserve Bank of India, to reduce the lendable amount of the bank and effective in controlling the liquidity of the bank. It can vary from 3% to 15%. Another important term is SLR. SLR is nothing but statutory liquidity ratio. In the developing country like India, Expansion of money supply is needed in order to accelerate the pace of economic development. To increase the supply of money in the economy, RBI issues currency and the government borrows from the foreign countries and even make the new provisions in the budget. Excessive money supply in the economy may lead to hyperinflation. Hence, RBI has a responsibility to manage that money supply so that inflation may not adversely affect the various sections of the society. A variety of credit control procedures are followed by RBI to accomplish this purpose. These control actions may be quantitative or qualitative. Repo rate, which is also known as repurchase rate. Repo rate is the rate at which the commercial banks can borrow from RBI. When the banks are in need of funds, they can borrow money from RBI. When the repo rate is reduced, then the banks can borrow the funds from the RBI at very cheaper rates. Similarly, with the increase in repo rate, the borrowing funds are available to the banks from RBI at higher cost. Generally, RBI lends to the banks against the government securities. So liquidity is generated in the banking system by RBI with the help of repo rate. Due to increase in repo rate, banks pay more money to central bank, that's the Reserve Bank of India. Hence, bank charges higher rate of interest on the loan and industry will be reluctant to take loan from the commercial banks. As a result, excess liquidity will be withdrawn from the market. Due to inflation, this type of situation arises in the economy. Next comes reverse repo rate. What is this reverse repo rate? Reverse repo rate is the rate at which central bank may lend money from the commercial banks. Reverse repo rate is an instrument to control money supply in the economy. In order to reduce money supply, the reverse repo rate is increased, which means the banks are given more incentives when funds are provided to RBI and it may lead to reduced supply of money in the market. The reverse action is taken by RBI when money supply is to be increased in the economy, that is, reverse repo rate is reduced at that time. When the apex bank is under shortage of money, then the commercial banks are asked to provide loans to them. The rate at which the banks are said to provide loan funds is known as reverse repo rate. Always reverse repo rate is higher than the repo rate. Between repo rate and reverse repo rate, a difference of 1% is maintained at the minimum. It means if the banks provide loans to RBI, then their money will not be under risk if comparatively loans are provided to common consumers. Hence, excess money with the banks is lent to RBI. The rate at which liquidity is observed by RBI from the banks is known as reverse repo rate. Now let's discuss the limitations of monetary policy. The first one is huge budgetary deficit. In order to control inflation and balance the money supply in the market, best efforts are made by Reserve Bank of India. But monetary policy has been unproductive due to budgetary deficits of the central government. Secondly, only commercial banks are covered. RBI can control the inflationary pressure caused by banking finance only because it has control on commercial banks and have no control on other factors which can cause inflation like goods scarcity and deficit financing. Third is problems in management of financial institutions and banks. Inflation can be controlled by monetary policy and overall development can be achieved only when there is dedicated and efficient management of banks and financial institutions. Money market is unorganized. There is an unorganized money market present in Indian financial system over which RBI has no control. Hence, monetary policy turn out to be less effective. Black money. Black money generation is a bigger problem of Indian economy which is not controllable by RBI. Hence, total money supply in the economy is beyond the sphere of RBI and monetary policy, making credit availability uh, to be adequate and lowering cost of credit. Economic growth quickens when credit is available at lower interest rate, which ultimately stimulates investment. Exchange rate stability. Fixed exchange rate system is followed. Uh, repeat. Fixed exchange rate system was followed by India till 1991, and then with the permission of IMF, India devalued rupee rarely. Since 1991, there's a volatility in the exchange rate of rupee, reason being globalization and floating exchange rate. Fluctuations in the rupee exchange rate are due to capital outflows and inflows and alternation in the foreign exchange demand and supply, which crop up due to imports and exports. So as to ensure stability in the foreign exchange rate, Reserve Bank have to take suitable monetary measures to prevent large appreciation and depreciation of foreign exchange rate. Inflation control or price stability. Monetary policy has a major objective to control inflation or maintenance of price stability. However, price stability does not mean totally no change in the prices. In the developing country like India, certain price level changes or inflation is quite expected. Although there may be an adverse effect of the high degree of inflation on the economy, firstly, the cost of living of people is raised by inflation. Secondly, exports are discouraged because inflation makes them costly and people are forced to import goods because of high prices in domestic market. Hence, there is an adverse effect on balance of payment due to inflation. Thirdly, due to high inflation, money value quickly falls and people have less motivation to save. Ultimately, investments are reduced, which lead to lower economic growth. Moreover, people are encouraged to invest in other assets like real estate, jewelry, and gold, etc. Stop. Finish. Black money. Black money generation is a bigger problem of Indian economy which is not controllable by RBI. Hence, total money supply in the economy is beyond the sphere of RBI and monetary policy, making credit availability to be adequate and lowering cost of credit. Economic growth quickens when credit is available at lower interest rate, which ultimately stimulates investment. Exchange rate stability. Fixed exchange rate system was followed by India till 1991, and then with the permission of IMF, India devalued rupee rarely. Since 1991, there's a volatility in the exchange rate of rupee, reason being globalization and floating exchange rate. Fluctuations in the rupee exchange rate are due to capital outflows and inflows and alternation in the foreign exchange demand and supply, which crop up due to imports and exports. So as to ensure stability in the foreign exchange rate, Reserve Bank have to take suitable monetary measures to prevent large appreciation and depreciation of foreign exchange rate. Inflation control or price stability. Monetary policy has a major objective to control inflation or maintenance of price stability. However, price stability does not mean totally no change in the prices. In the developing country like India, certain price level changes or inflation is quite expected. Although there may be an adverse effect of the high degree of inflation on the economy, firstly, the cost of living of people is raised by inflation. Secondly, exports are discouraged because inflation makes them costly and people are forced to import goods because of high prices in domestic market. Hence, there is an adverse effect on balance of payment due to inflation. Thirdly, due to high inflation, money value quickly falls and people have less motivation to save. Ultimately, investments are reduced, which lead to lower economic growth. Moreover, people are encouraged to invest in other assets like real estate, jewelry, and gold, etc. Now, at the end, let's discuss the strengths and weaknesses of RBI's monetary policy. As far as strengths are concerned, the decision making and implementation is faster than the fiscal policy. There is more reliance on selective credit control measures and less on quantitative controls, making RBI's pressure on commercial banks as less severe. Thirdly, it has been responsive to the needs of the economy. Now, if we talk about the weaknesses, the higher proportion of non-banking credit is there. There is no check on rise in price, even high currency deposit ratio rendering the RBI's loan less effective, selective application of credit constraints, defective statistical and monitoring system, and growing fiscal needs of the economy. Globalization and the monetary policy. With the deregulation of financial markets and globalization, the process of monetary policy formulation acquired a much greater market orientation than ever before, inducing a shift from direct to indirect instruments of monetary control. This has been accompanied by several institutional changes in the monetary fiscal interface to ensure that central banks possess the autonomy to anchor inflation expectations. The process of globalization and liberalization necessitated widening of the mandate of central banks. For their policies to be effective, monetary authorities are required to modify the way in which they are conducting the monetary policy. So, central banks in emerging markets also face similar issues. A special challenge in their case has been the need to calibrate the changes in the operating procedures of the monetary policy with the pace of transition from an unrestricted regime of interest rates to the market-based process of price discovery. Accordingly, the targets, instruments, and operating procedures of the central banks have been evolving in the recent decades. So let's now summarize what we have learned in this module. The practice to control money supply by the monetary authority in the country is known as monetary policy. In other words, the act of the central bank, other regulatory working group to settle the economic growth through money supply, which has an effect on the interest rates, is known as monetary policy. Economic growth, exchange rate stability, and price stability are the basic objectives of monetary policy. So numerous instruments have been used by RBI to put into practice the monetary policy, which leads to make over the money supply and interest rate. There are certain limitations of monetary policy, like black money is generated by it. People will not show it. Only the commercial banks are covered, and the monetary policy must move in parity with the fiscal policy to accelerate the path of growth in the country and achieve other objectives of the economy. Thank you.